Part 34. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 331. In the Ancestral Master's Hall, with the manifestation of the Ancestral Master, all the Taoist priests from Longhu Mountain gathered together again. They looked at the portrait of the Ancestral Master above for a while, and then looked at Yang Lin next to them. After a long while, an experienced Taoist who was of the same generation as Lao Tianchi came to Yang Lin. "Junior brother Yang, can you tell me what your relationship is with the Ancestral Master, and why the Ancestral Master appears at this time? Also, senior brother, this ascension should have been inspired by you." Yang Lin was not surprised at all when he heard Lao Dao's question. A slightly normal person would think so after encountering such a situation continuously. He did not deny this. He nodded slightly and then replied, "Senior brother's ability to ascend is indeed related to my enlightenment, but more importantly, it is because of his own destiny. As for the relationship between me and the Ancestral Master..." At this point, Yang Lin's tone paused and he did not continue. After all, he can't say that this Ancestral Master was enlightened by him. But in the eyes of the Taoist priests in Longhu Mountain, his performance had another meaning. The old Taoist priest himself also showed an expression that was indeed true. Immediately he returned to the side again. Yang Lin thought that the matter would end here, but what he didn't expect was that soon the old Taoist priest led a group of disciples from Longhu Mountain to him again. The next second, under the shocked eyes of all the guests, these disciples of Longhu Mountain, led by several purple-robed old Taoist priests, bowed to Yang Lin and saluted. All the disciples of Longhu Mountain pay homage to the true successor of the ancestral Heavenly Master and respectfully ask the true successor to preside over the affairs of the Heavenly Master's mansion. As soon as these words came out, everyone at the scene was immediately in an uproar again. What's going on? What are these people in Longhu Mountain doing? What is the true biography of the Ancestral Master? Maybe they want Yang Lin to succeed the next generation of Celestial Master. Zhenzuan almost means reincarnation. For example, in Buddhism, there is a saying of a soul boy, and Zhenzuan is similar to a soul boy. So Yang Lin is the reincarnation of the Ancestral Master. Based on what just happened, there is a high probability. After all, he made the contemporary Celestial Master emerge on the spot with just a single calligraphy, and just now the ancestral Celestial Master showed himself wholly on the spot. No wonder there are rumors on the internet that Yang Lin has such great abilities. If he is really the reincarnation of the Ancestral Master, then all this will make sense. Perhaps the Ancestral Heavenly Master saw that the Taoist sect was weak now, so he sent him down to the lower realms to prosper the Taoist section. I suddenly felt that he was somewhat similar to the Ancestral Master in the portrait. Just as everyone was talking to each other, the little tiger that had been hiding in Yang Lin's sleeve suddenly crawled out of it sleepily, and then landed on Yang Lin's shoulders. He let out a roar in front of everyone present. In an instant, the entire Patriarch Hall fell into deathly silence. Everyone's eyes turned to the little tiger on Yang Lin's shoulder, and all kinds of complex emotions instantly filled their hearts. If just now they were still doubting whether Yang Lin was the true successor of the Ancestral Master, then after seeing this little tiger, they no longer had any doubts in their hearts. In Taoist legends, the tiger is the sacred beast of Taoism and is revered as the god of war. Many Taoist mythological figures ride on tigers. Among them is the Ancestral Master. This is also the reason why there is a tiger under the crotch of the Ancestral Master in the portrait. The origin of Longhu Mountain is also inextricably related to tigers. Before everyone could recover from the shock caused by the little tiger living in the sleeves on the other side of the poplar forest was not to be outdone. It twisted its body that had grown to almost half a meter long and came to the poplar forest. Lin's left shoulder. After seeing so many people around it, it immediately raised its head high and opened its ruby-like eyes wide. It seems that they really linked me with their ancestor. After muttering in his heart, his eyes immediately scanned the surrounding area. Although they do not belong to the celestial master Tao, the ancestral celestial master is a pivotal figure in the entire Taoist system and is a great god in the upper world. Thump. I'll wait to see the ancestral master. Looking at the little guy on his left and right shoulders, he couldn't help but have a wry smile on his face. At this moment, there was no longer any doubt in their minds, and they had already determined that Yang Lin was the reincarnation of the ancestral master. Although the words are light, they carry great weight in everyone's ears. Tomorrow, Pandeo will prepare for a Dharma conference in Lutang City. We need to mobilize some manpower. I wonder if you are willing to cooperate. The ancestral heavenly master has descended to earth. The ancestral heavenly master has descended to earth. Coupled with the sword on his back and his otherworldly aura, except for being a little younger, he was exactly the same as the ancestral master in the painting. Get up. I was afraid that I would miss this opportunity to show myself in front of the ancestral master. Thinking of this, Yang Lin did not deny it on the spot, but looked around and said. Not to mention that they thought so, even the guests at the scene knelt on the ground after looking at each other. After hearing what Yang Lin said, all the Taoists present immediately took the initiative to ask for help. Now that Yang Lin is the reincarnation of the ancestral heavenly master, his status is naturally equivalent to that of the ancestral heavenly master himself. It is natural for them to kneel down and kowtow. Soon everyone who had just knelt stood up immediately, and then looked at Yang Lin respectfully, waiting for Yang Lin's further explanation. It's just that their kneeling down completely put Yang Lin into a state of confusion. If I explain it at this time, I am afraid that I will not be able to convince them no matter what. If I can ascend, I might still meet him. Meet the ancestral master. We understand that we will never reveal the identity of the ancestral master. In this way, Yang Lin's white snake on his left shoulder and black tiger on his right shoulder correspond to the two characters dragon and tiger. All Taoist monks must be honored as patriarch. Especially those gray-haired old Taoist priests. Now that you already know Pandeo's identity, don't leak it to the outside world easily. Do you understand? Instead of doing this, it's better to admit it. The expression on his face is also as if it was carved out of a mold. Looking at the crowd of Taoists and guests who looked like good babies next to him, Yang Lin originally planned to disperse them, but when he thought about the Dharma conference that would be held in Lutang City tomorrow, he immediately said. But then again, this ancestral master should be the person in this world who has really had contact with the cultivators of the upper realm. Maybe he has really ascended to the upper realm at this moment. 3 points for surprise, 7 points for excitement. I don't know what the ancestral master has to say. I don't know who was the first to kneel on the ground, and soon all the disciples of Longhu Mountain in the Patriarch Hall fell to their knees. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 332. While everyone in the Patriarch's Hall was obeying Yang Lin's orders, several members of the program team who had been waiting in the square outside the hall were getting a little impatient. What's going on? Why did Teacher Yang and the others stay in for so long? Listening to what they have been saying about the ancestral heavenly master appearing, is it possible that there really is an ancestral heavenly master? It's a pity that we can't go in at all, so we can only watch from the outside. Teacher Yang doesn't know what's going on inside. How about we take a camera to the side and take a secret photo? Anyway, they are all in the hall at the moment, so no one should be able to care about us. Let's go, let's go. While they were talking, several people were preparing to head to the entrance of the Patriarch's Hall with their filming equipment. But at this moment, a figure suddenly walked out of the Grand Master's hall. The moment they saw this figure, the eyes of several members of the program team lit up. It's Teacher Yang, he finally came out. But before they could move forward, a group of people wearing Taoist robes appeared behind Yang Lin. Some of these people come from Longhu Mountain, and some come from other sects. Some are wearing purple robes, some are wearing red robes, and some are wearing yellow robes. There are old men, young men, and middle-aged men, with different statuses. But no matter where they came from or what their identities were, they all behaved extremely respectfully in front of Yang Lin at this moment. He was even more respectful than when he faced the old heavenly master before, with a hint of humility in his respect. And their performance also made several members of the program team fall into a state of sluggishness. What's wrong with them? Why are they so polite all of a sudden? Yeah, it wasn't like this before I went in. I can understand why others are so respectful to Teacher Yang, but why are those old men in purple robes so respectful? Aren't they quite senior? What happened inside just now? For a while, the heads of the program crew were full of question marks. At this moment, a middle-aged Taoist wearing long Hushan Taoist robes suddenly asked the disciples on the side to bring chairs and place them in the open area in the center of the square in front of the hall. At the same time, he also greeted other guests present, plus this group of nearly 1,000 people wearing Taoist robes. At the beginning, the program team didn't understand the significance of what he did. But when they started to line up, it became clear. Just at this time, a little Taoist priest came to them respectfully. You are friends from the TV station. Could you please do me a favor and take a group photo for all of us here? Upon hearing this little Taoist priest's request, the program team suddenly realized. Okay, no problem. After saying that, they took the filming equipment, walked to the entrance of the square in front of the hall, and pointed the camera forward. At this time, everyone present also organized their cues. Except for the people in the first row, everyone in the back was standing. There are only a dozen or so people who can sit in the first row of chairs. The average age of these dozen people is over 80 or 90 years old, and the robes they wear are also unique purple. Obviously their status in the Taoist sect is very respected. And among such a group of Taoist masters wearing purple robes, a figure stood out particularly conspicuously. Not only was he sitting upright in the middle, but he was also wearing a blue robe. It is in sharp contrast to the surrounding Taoist masters. When this scene was shown through the camera in front of the audience in the live broadcast room, the audience in the live broadcast room also exploded in an instant. Huh? What's going on? Why is Yang Lin sitting in the middle? Can anyone tell me if there is anything special about this sitting method? It goes without saying that the closer you are to the middle, the more awesome you are. The further you go to the front, the more awesome you are. The one that is both forward and in the middle is the most awesome. If Old Heavenly Master had not become immortal, this position should belong to Old Heavenly Master. Let's put it this way, the position in the middle is equivalent to the position of the speaker. No, Yang Lin just wished me a happy birthday. Why did he get the C position? Not only did the Heavenly Master who sent him away also occupied his position. As the cameraman clicks the shutter, a group photo is taken. It seems that everyone has forgotten what happened to the Heavenly Master who just emerged. Yes, they also left right after eating. Teacher Yang and the others aren't going to follow us, are they? After looking at the group of Taoist priests next to them and then at Yang Lin, they finally showed expressions of doubt about life. Are they all going to Luteng City too? Just when the audience was confused about the situation, everything was in place. After packing up their belongings, a group of Taoist priests from Longhu Mountain and various daimon began to prepare to go down the mountain. Without waiting for Yang Lin to give an answer, a group of Taoists who put on ordinary Taoist robes walked up to Yang Lin. It wasn't until a few hours later that everything finally came to an end. Teacher Yang, what are they going to do? Do they all want to go down the mountain together? It's not like they chose Yang Lin to be the next heavenly master, right? They all followed behind their van. They have never seen Taoist priests act collectively. After they came down the mountain, the group of Taoist priests, which numbered hundreds of people, also got into their own vehicles. That night Yang Lin took this group of Taoist priests to Luteng City. That's not such a simple matter. The selection of Tianchi Dao is not just a matter for their family. It can't be like how you choose the squad leader. Everyone just votes. It also needs to be recognized by the Taoist Association. Not only the program crew and the audience were dumbfounded, but also the tourists and incense goers who came and went looked sideways. But what happened next directly verified the guesses of the program team. In addition, fellow Taoists from Wudang Mountain, Yimei Mountain, Qingcheng Mountain, Lashan Mountain, and Mishan Mountain are also ready. Okay, Uncle Master, I'll go and notify him right away. Perhaps they saw that Yang Lin was so awesome that they decided to make Yang Lin their master. Uncle Master, everything is ready. When will we set off? At this moment, several members of the program team were completely confused. Seeing this situation, they hurriedly asked Yang Lin on the side. That shouldn't be the case. The Heavenly Masters of the Heavenly Masters Mansion must be selected from the blood of the Zhang family. There has never been a saying that someone with a foreign surname became a Heavenly Master. Aren't you going to form a group to go to Luteng City for team building? The atmosphere at the scene was also unprecedentedly good. Now that everything is ready, let's get ready to go down the mountain. However, this time Yang Lin did not give a direct answer. After the photo shooting is completed, the next step is to eat. Hearing the words of a group of Taoists, Yang Lin nodded immediately. Just when the show crew thought they could leave, a scene that surprised them happened. So many Taoist priests are going to Luteng City. They are not going to catch ghosts. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 333. Luteng City Tenglong Hotel, as one of the few five-star hotels in Luteng City, has always been the first choice for foreign businessmen or investors. However, just today, a group of extraordinary guests were welcomed at the door of Tenglong Hotel. A group of Taoist priests wearing Taoist robes and Taoist scarves on their heads. There are about 100 people in this group of Taoist priests Wang. Some of the older ones are in their 80s or 90s, and some of the younger ones are in their teens or 20s. Everyone has big and small bags in their hands. Whether it is pedestrians or hotel staff, they are somewhat confused when faced with such a scene. There was a young Taoist at the front of this group of Taoist priests, and he was Yang Lin, who had just come down from Longhu Mountain. Excuse me, fellow Taoists, please stay here for one night today. I will arrange for someone to arrange a room for you later. Wait until early tomorrow morning, and then follow Pandeo to the scene. The Taoist priests behind him also nodded repeatedly. Several people from the program team on the side saw this and hurriedly walked up to these Taoists to collect their ID cards. Taoist priest, please get your ID card. And your Taoist priest. Okay, thanks. After the program team had collected all their ID cards, they came to the front desk of the hotel. When the lady at the front desk heard that she was going to book a room for each of the Taoist priests present, she was dumbfounded. It took quite a while to react. Fortunately, it's not the peak tourist season, otherwise we really wouldn't be able to free up so many rooms. It took nearly an hour just to check in this group of Taoist priests. Then this group of Taoist priests from various Daodaumen checked in individually under the guidance of the hotel staff. During this process, from time to time, hotel guests would take out their mobile phones to take photos or videos of them. Apparently this was too unusual for them. After all the Taoist priests had checked in, the passers-by watching in the hotel lobby and outside the door could no longer bear it. I'm not mistaken. The group of people just now were all real Taoist priests. If I didn't know, I thought it was some kind of large-scale cosplay scene. Which cosplay company is all Taoist priests? What on earth is going on? Isn't it already July and a half? These tycoons are lacking in performance and have collectively gone down to brush up on KPIs. It's still said that Greenvine City is haunted. What the hell is going on? There are so many Taoist priests. This is obviously a Taoist mess. I just saw that there seemed to be a lot of magical instruments in their carry-on luggage, such as drums, gongs, and bowls. They can't really form a group to catch ghosts, right? Post it online so that netizens can learn more about it. Unknown to other netizens, they think that the streets of Luteng City are full of Taoist priests. But then again, the Taoist priest who took the lead just now looks a bit familiar. A little bit. As he spoke, the group of onlookers posted a video of what had just happened online. Then it once again triggered a new round of heated discussion among netizens. I sincerely advise netizens who are within the scope of the heavy rain to quickly stock up on more food and drink while the flooding is not particularly severe, and then try to run to higher floors so that they can wait for rescue. Everyone is complaining about this natural disaster. The natural disasters predicted by heaven have finally come true today. In other words, except for a few netizens who still have the energy to pay attention to this matter, most netizens are more concerned about their own safety. A total of more than 20 counties and cities in 3 provinces in northern Longwo were hit by super heavy rains. And this thing is the continuous heavy rains in many northern provinces. According to this method, it is estimated that the areas below the first floor of our community will be soaked in water early tomorrow morning. Now it's really a drought and a flood. Time also passed slowly under such circumstances, and one night passed in the blink of an eye. Isn't it said that the north is dry and rainless, while the south is humid and rainy? Why is it the other way around this year? What's going on with the weather this year? It's a typhoon, a drought, and now there's heavy rain. There were earthquakes a few days ago. Did they make an appointment in advance? It means that we have been in a drought for almost a month without a drop of rain. The water in the rivers and wells has dried up. But you told me that it is raining heavily in the northern city. The hearts of all netizens are full of worries. Among all disaster warnings, red warning is the highest level. It means that the disaster will cause serious losses and will occur quickly, requiring immediate prevention. But in an instant, this topic was suppressed by another matter. At the same time, they are also full of worries about the future. After all, they are not sure whether such a thing will happen to them one day. As soon as this news was released, the entire Dragon Kingdom internet instantly went into an uproar. Although there has been no disaster so far, according to meteorological experts' predictions, the intensity of heavy rain will further increase in the next 48 hours. And there is no sign of stopping anytime soon. Many rivers in the basin may even burst their banks, affecting cities downstream. Early on the next morning, Yang Lin once again led the group of Taoist priests to gather in front of the hotel door. Almost immediately, the Longwo Meteorological Bureau issued a red meteorological disaster warning. What other consequences could there be? It is estimated that all low-lying urban areas will be flooded, and then several major rivers will burst their banks, and the middle and lower reaches of the city will be threatened by floods. We can't think of ways to even out the heavy rain in the north to the south, so that it's good for you, me, and everyone. How is this possible? This kind of thing is under God's control. Human beings are really vulnerable in front of nature and have no right to speak. Hey. I don't have the heart to sympathize with you anymore. We are almost dying here. You can just ask for your blessings. And in this internet environment, the news that Yang Lin will hold a concert in Luteng City tomorrow seems so inconspicuous. If this trend continues, these counties and cities will suffer unprecedented flood disaster threats. Can anyone tell me what will happen if such heavy rain continues for 48 hours? Regardless of whether you live in a city within the scope of a disaster. These concerns are expressed in the message and comment areas below on all social platforms and video websites. Our underground garage has already begun to flood. We don't have to wait until tomorrow morning for another hour, and the entire underground garage will be flooded. For a moment, the internet was filled with lamentations and negative energy was everywhere. I am now within the scope of the heavy rain. It has been raining continuously for 5 hours here. The water has almost reached the knees, and the water in the sewer cannot be drained at all. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 334. Dozens or hundreds of Taoist priests stood together, which was already eye-catching enough. What's more, the costumes of these Taoist priests are slightly different from yesterday. When they stayed at the hotel last night, they were all wearing ordinary plain clothes. It looks ordinary and featureless. However, this morning they put on the robes that they would only wear on important occasions or dharma gatherings. Green, yellow, red, purple, you can find them all here. Coupled with their already good looks, their whole image suddenly went up to more than one level. Especially the ones wearing purple robes, they look like old gods. It attracts frequent glances from guests staying at the hotel. Only then did they realize how extraordinary the identities of these Taoist priests were. But at the same time, a trace of curiosity arose in my heart. What is the purpose of such a group of awesome Taoist priests gathering together? Under the curious eyes of everyone, Yang Lin walked up to this group of Taoist priests. Every comrade should be ready. Today's matter involves hundreds of millions of people, and we must not make any mistakes. As soon as Yang Lin said this, all the Taoist priests present nodded quickly. Yang Lin had already told them what they were going to do this time last night. After learning that they were actually trying to quell the drought in Green Vine this time, these Taoist priests who used to practice in the mountains were extremely excited. Going down the mountain to save the world has always been the romance of Taoists. What's more, the people saved this time are not just the people of the same place. Unconsciously, they had a feeling in their hearts that a great responsibility had been entrusted to them by heaven. Now that all my comrades know it, let's set off. After speaking, Yang Lin took everyone on several buses arranged by Luteng city officials. The bus drove on the road for half an hour and finally arrived at Luteng City Sports Center. Before they even got out of the car, they saw a large police presence outside the sports center. Obviously, the officials of Luteng City attach great importance to it this time. As soon as Yang Ling got out of the car, a familiar figure walked up to him. Daozang Yang, you are here. We are already ready for what you asked us to do. The person who spoke was the mayor's secretary Ma Dongsheng. After he and Yang Lin met each other, he realized that there were so many Taoist people standing behind Yang Lin. Subconsciously, he thought these were extras that Yang Lin found from somewhere. Until he saw the old Taoists wearing purple robes behind Yang Lin, his expression changed immediately. As the mayor's secretary, he naturally has to greet some religious figures. So he recognized the identities of the two purple-robed old Taoists at first sight. If he remembered correctly, one of them should be the vice president of the Taoist Association of Zhejiang Province. The other is a permanent director of the Taoist Association. To a certain extent, even the mayor of Luteng City had to be polite when meeting them. But at this moment, these Taoist masters were standing obediently behind Yang Lin. He really couldn't understand how Yang Lin sent these people down the mountain. But it was obvious that Yang Lin had no intention of explaining this to him. After confirming that everything was ready, he led the group of Taoist priests into the sports center. At this moment, the huge sports center has been decorated like a concert venue. There were auditoriums all around, and a high platform was erected in the middle. The high platform is more than 20 meters high, and the entire body is composed of a truss structure. It covers an area of nearly 200 square meters and is in the shape of bagua. In the middle is a clear black and white Tai Chi diagram. There is a long flagpole standing in every corner, with mysterious and unusual runes hanging on the flagpole. There is also an incense table placed in the middle of the Tai Chi diagram. There are all kinds of sacrificial tributes on the incense table. In addition to these, there are futons placed in different positions. In conjunction with the overall shape of the stage, it looks both weird and mysterious. If ordinary viewers saw it, their jaws would probably drop. This is not a concert stage. It is clearly a magic circle. However, the group of Taoist priests were not surprised at all. After looking around, they all looked at Yang Lin, seeming to be waiting for Yang Lin to make the next arrangement. Master Zhengming, sit here. There are 108 people in total, corresponding to the 108 stars in the sky. On these buses were a group of men and women holding concert tickets. Red, yellow, and green sit in the middle. If you are not born on the corresponding date, even if you grab the ticket, the official will not issue the qualification. While Yang Lin was busy, these Taoist priests were not idle either. But what those ticket buyers didn't expect was that this time they had to upload their ID card, date of birth, etc. What the hell is this? The total number of people is 33,000. At the same time, buses were arriving one after another outside the Luteng City Sports Center. Some of them are locals of Luteng City, and some came through online registration channels. Taoist Master Jinxian, sit here. As for Yang Lin himself, he came to the incense table in the middle of the high platform. Those wearing purple robes sit in the inner circle. Even before they arrived at the sports center, their hearts were filled with anticipation. At this point, all the preliminary preparations are in place. But when they thought that Yang Lin was holding the concert this time, they felt relieved. Netizens were very curious about this selection method at first. After all, they had never heard that buying a concert ticket requires one's birth date. Some are holding wooden fish, some are holding fishing drums, some are holding alms bowls, some are holding gold gongs, and some are holding xylophones and erhus. And Yang Lin was not idle either, and immediately led them to the high platform. One by one, they took out the magic weapons they brought from the mountain. Originally, far more people participated in purchasing tickets online. He casually took out all the props needed for this practice from his cuffs. Those in blue robes sit in the outermost circle. Taoist Master Ching Song, sit here. Then he handed over the scriptures he had written in advance to the hands of the Taoist priests present. Including the 3 immortal treasures just obtained, yellow talisman, wooden fu, jade talisman, documents and so on. All that's left is to wait for the audience to arrive this time. Under the guidance of Yang Lin, these Taoists soon sat on corresponding futons. Especially after seeing the high platform in the middle of the sports center and the Taoist priests on the high platform. After all, many people still want to come and see the excitement and see how Yang Lin holds a concert. This resulted in only 33,000 people being selected. After they finally passed the tedious process of ticket inspection, date of birth, etc. When they entered the sports center, they were instantly dumbfounded. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 335. Due to Yang Lin's previous performances on the show, he has now accumulated a large number of fans. It has even far surpassed most of the top players. Lin Yumo is one of them. She has been obsessed with Taoist culture and has liked these gods and ghosts since she was a child. For this reason, she even stayed in a Taoist temple for several months when she was in college. As soon as she heard the news from Luteng City that Yang Lin was going to hold a concert in Luteng a few days ago, she immediately became interested. It just so happened that her birth date met the audience's requirements, so she naturally got tickets for the concert. In the process of coming here, she also continued to build herself up mentally. She could even imagine how outrageous this concert would be, and she could accept it if she went on stage to perform a ritual or give a sermon. But what did she see now? There is a Dharma platform more than 9 feet high, with a group of hundreds of Taoist priests wearing Taoist robes. Plus various arrangements on the high platform. Those who knew it were at the concert, but those who didn't know it thought it was a Taoist water and land ceremony. And with the same expression as her, there were other spectators present. At this moment, the more than 33,000 spectators didn't even bother to find their own seats, and looked straight at the middle of the sports center. Shocked, confused, incredible. All kinds of complicated emotions come together. The next second, everyone exploded. Did we go to the wrong place? It should be right, I saw the address written on the internet is here. Don't tell me the one in the middle is the stage. I have watched dozens of concerts, large and small, in the past few years, but I have never seen anything like this style. Is this the traditional Dragon Country style? I think this is a Buddhist concert, yes, not French, but Buddhist. Today's concerts have become so hellish. Adding a coffin in the middle will make it a farewell ceremony. What kind of person can invite so many Taoist priests to do a farewell ceremony when he dies? As expected of Yang Lin, the style of the concert is different from other stars. It's interesting. Are the Taoist priests next to him together? Could it be that they were cosplayed by band members? Looking at their appearance, they shouldn't be. They are most likely professional Taoist priests. Hey guys, the concert has turned into a religious ceremony. By the way, I remembered it. When I was browsing videos last night, I saw Yang Lin leading a group of Taoist priests to stay in a hotel. It couldn't be them. They can't be wrong. It seemed they were the ones on Longhu Mountain before. Good fellow, I'm leading a group of professional Taoist priests down the mountain to pick up the work. When you said that, I suddenly started looking forward to it. After experiencing the initial confusion, there was suddenly a glimmer of expectation in the eyes of the audience. Obviously, after seeing the battle at the scene, they became more and more curious about what Yang Lin would do at this concert. As he spoke, the 33,000 spectators sat in their designated seats one after another. What surprised them was that even the position where they sat was very particular. It turned out to be arranged according to a certain formation. Except for the seats they were sitting on, all the seats next to them were blocked. Before they could figure out the purpose of this, a small pocket placed in front of the seat caught their attention. Hey, there's something inside this. Could it be a support item? Is it so thoughtful? Open it and take a look. The audience present opened the small pocket with a hint of curiosity. After some inspection, they discovered that there were things in the pocket that they couldn't understand. A booklet with the words Great Freedom and the Four Seas Dragon King Sutra written on the cover. A small wooden sword with incomprehensible rituals carved on it. And a poster depicting a statue of the Dragon King. Looking at these three strange things, the expressions on everyone's faces suddenly became strange. Good guy, this support item is quite unique. I have never seen such a support animal before. Don't tell me that these things are quite exquisitely made and fit very well with the theme of the concert. I really like this little wooden sword. What does the sutra mean? I feel like I can't understand what's in it at all. I've never heard of this before. After saying that, he withdrew his gaze and turned his attention to the incense table in front of him. In this case, it's time to take action. As expected, I asked why Yang Lin held the concert smoothly. In that case, we are going to help Yang Lin do it this time. Just like Yang Lin said, this is really a great merit. While the audience was talking a lot, Yang Lin, who was in the center of the stage, was also looking around the stage. It's a little exciting just thinking about it. After scanning around, a trace of satisfaction appeared on his face. But if it were a concert, both the application and approval would be much simpler. All of a sudden, the audience at the scene responded one after another. I would like to thank you for this. When everyone was calm and focused, Yang Lin suddenly spoke loudly. I don't see myself as the Dragon King on the poster. Could it be that this ceremony has something to do with the Dragon King? You must act according to Pandeo's request later. If you can succeed, your merits will be immeasurable. It's burning. It's burning. Let's start quickly. Just tell us what we need to do. We will never say no. The originally noisy sports center suddenly became quiet. The next second he picked up the Sanking bell placed in the upper right corner of the incense table, and used his magic power to shake it gently. As he spoke, Yang Lin bowed to everyone around him. Yang Lin, who saw the scene in his eyes, immediately nodded to the Taoists. It turns out that the concert was just a cover, and his real purpose was to hold a huge Dharma ceremony. Listening to what he just said, combined with his current behavior, the audience present still didn't understand what was happening. I never thought that one day we would be able to contribute to something like this. Suddenly the clear ringing sound spread throughout the sports center. These 33,000 spectators are all waterbound. However, my strength is not bad, so I will use your strength. It seems that the official work of Luteng City is still very reliable. At this moment, all the spectators in the venue suddenly felt as if the distracting thoughts in their minds were cleared instantly, and their eyes became extremely clear and clean. How much impact do you think it will have on society if tens of thousands of people are called together to hold a religious ceremony? Then why can't you just say it? If it fails, Pandeo will bear all the consequences. Today, there is a severe drought in the south, heavy rain in the north, natural disasters are coming to the world, and the people are in poverty. I want to use this Dharma meeting to eliminate disasters and relieve all people, and save all people from floods and fires. Faced with this strange situation, no one at the scene noticed it. When I suddenly realized this, I couldn't help but be moved in my heart. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 336. On the high platform, with all the preparations in place, Yang Lin's expression became more serious than ever. In an instant, his aura that belonged to the peak of the Yin Shen realm escaped from his body towards the surroundings. But in the blink of an eye, his image in the eyes of everyone changed from an ordinary little Taoist priest to an unfathomable Taoist master. Feeling the oppression from the soul level, all the Taoist priests on the high platform suddenly showed a look of horror on their faces. They never thought that a person's momentum could be as powerful as a mountain or an ocean. He is indeed the reincarnation of the ancestral master. Is this the horror of immortals? It's incredible. I hope to become enlightened. I don't know when I will reach such a state. My sect is about to rise. Inexplicably, this group of Taoist priests became extremely excited. And at this moment, Yang Lin suddenly picked up the wandering world that he had spent a lot of money to buy earlier. Dip the finest cinnabar on the side and write an essay on the yellow paper in front of you. After he finished writing the inscription, he immediately picked up the jade seal next to him and stamped it on top of the inscription. With the blessing of the jade seal, the originally ordinary expression became brilliant in an instant. There is even a hint of fairy power on it. This operation also instantly made everyone's eyes shine. However, this is only the beginning. Putting the written essay aside, Yang Lin picked up 3 pillars of fragrance and inserted them into the incense burner in front of him. Use the real fire in your palm to ignite the fragrance, and at the same time step on the 7 stars and walk towards the sky. 3 animals were used as sacrifices and yellow paper was used as a table. 3 bows and 9 kowtows. With a palm slap on the incense table, the 5 evil-killing male and female swords flew into his hand. With the tip of the sword raised, the stack of yellow talismans placed beside them flew up one after another. After flying into the air, it spontaneously ignited without fire. Vaguely, these yellow symbols seemed to have opened a certain passage. After the yellow talisman, Yang Lin threw out the wooden talisman on the table, and then the jade talisman. A series of 99 and 81 talismans went up to the sky. There was an extra cloud in the originally cloudless sky. In the gap in the clouds, there was a golden light shining straight down. If there were any high school students here, they might scream about the Tyndall effect. But if you are a college student, you will say that it is a manifestation of God's. But here in Yang Lin, he took this opportunity to throw the previous note into the air. A magical scene happened in the next second. This form actually ignored the gravity of the blue star and flew straight into the air. Finally disappeared into the clouds. This scene immediately stunned the group of Taoist priests beside Yang Lin and the audience in the auditorium. What's going on? Is this so hardcore from the beginning? I remember that Yang Lin said on the show that there are not so many gods and ghosts in this world, so what is this? This is no longer a magical method, this is a miracle. Is it possible that this is asking for rain? So he just reported to the higher UPS. Whether it will rain or not depends on whether the higher UPS approve it or not. Yes, that's right, you still have to go through the process. I don't think it's that simple. Today is really not in vain. I just don't know what we will be asked to do later. Will Yang Lin take this opportunity to teach us a thing or two? Don't think about it. If he wants to teach you, he has to be able to learn it. While everyone was talking about it, Yang Lin picked up the Sanking bell again. The moment the bell rang, everyone's minds were instantly absorbed. Be still and concentrate, and listen to the wonderful teachings taught by this poor Taoist. Open the great freedom of the Four Seas Dragon King Sutra in front of you, pick up the magic sword in your hand, and visualize the Dragon King statue in front of you. As soon as these words came out, the audience immediately acted according to what Yang Lin said. The originally obscure Dragon King Sutra of the Great Freedom and the Four Seas actually became familiar bit by bit at this moment. When the audience had entered a state of trance, Yang Lin looked at the Taoist priests on the side. The sound got louder and louder, rising straight into the sky. Then contribute their own meager strength. In an instant, the only sound left in the huge sports center was the sound of people chanting scriptures. Of course, they alone cannot complete this ritual. Hundreds of immortals and gods exerted their power at the same time, and their power was no less powerful than that of the 33,000 spectators. After previous efforts, there are now more than 100 immortals registered in the Golden Book. However, Yang Lin did not stop there, but continued. Hearing Yang Lin's words, these Taoist priests nodded quickly. Seeing this scene, Yang Lin couldn't help but nodded slightly. At the same time, in the major lakes and rivers of Luteng City, the dragon-shaped statues began to glow, as if they had come to life, and at the same time they burst out with powerful power. Although these immortal gods are weak, they represent the power of heaven. The content mentioned happens to be the great freedom of the Four Seas Dragon King Sutra in the hands of the audience. Even their own state of mind was affected. At this moment, Yang Lin's lips began to move. The process of chanting also became more and more smooth. Although mortals do not have the magic power of ascetics in their bodies, they still possess extremely powerful power. In addition to manpower, Yang Lin also needs to borrow the power of heaven and earth. From the land and mountain gods of each village to Yuelao, the god of wealth who is respected by thousands of people, they are all registered and inspired by him. What they didn't notice was that while they were chanting the scriptures, the wooden swords they held began to shine slightly. But listening to Yang Lin's voice, they began to understand the content inexplicably. At this moment, he looked to the sky again. It was as if there was an invisible force stirring everything around him. The next second they acted independently. Under his leadership, the audience also chanted along with him. One by one, the natural enemy spirits who were born with consciousness after receiving lifelong incense offerings were all summoned at this moment, and appeared next to Yang Lin in a way that ordinary people could not see. Thinking of this, he immediately took out the gold book. Some were beating wooden fish, some were beating fishing drums, some were playing the erhu, and some were reciting scriptures. Once they are pious in their hearts and gather their willpower, they will produce unimaginable effects. At this point, the general trend of the three parties of heaven, earth, and people has been achieved. Comrades, just do what Pandeo said before. Zhenchan Tai Sui, the land of Wang Jiakan, the land of Huang Jiazhuang, the mountain god of Dalong Mountain, the river god of Xiaoqing He, the city god of Luteng City. At first, the audience was not familiar with the text because they did not quite understand the content of the scripture. With the addition of these three forces, Yang Lin's own aura far exceeded what he should have cultivated at the moment. Opening the golden book, Yang Lin silently recited a spell, and each name began to shine above it. With their concerted efforts, the atmosphere at the scene soon became solemn. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 337. On one side are 33,000 spectators who were born in auspicious months and auspicious times. On one side is the god who is worshipped by all the people. Plus the dragon-shaped statue representing a water vein. With the blessing of these three powers, Yang Lin's momentum instantly climbed from the Yin God realm to the peak of the Yang God realm. It is only one step away from the illusory realm of immortals. His powerful consciousness is enough to cover most of the Dragon Kingdom. Things that I couldn't feel before are now so obvious. But even so, Yang Lin was still not satisfied. He still wanted to take that final step. I saw him quickly taking out the three immortal treasures and placing them in front of him. With the help of the power of these three immortal treasures, his momentum increased again. Then he took out another Buddha bone relic. Hold it tightly in the palm of your hand, and with a slight exertion, this rare and unusual Buddha bone relic will turn into powder. The huge power inside was instantly absorbed by himself. At this moment, Yang Lin suddenly felt as if some kind of imprisonment had been broken. A familiar power surged into my heart, and my soul was instantly lifted. It seemed that as long as he waved his hand, the whole world would be destroyed by him. He had only experienced this feeling after surviving a real catastrophe in his previous life and becoming a true immortal. Feeling the changes in his body, his face was full of emotions, and he couldn't help but murmur to himself. Finally reached the realm of immortality again. It's a pity it's only temporary. In that case, let's make good use of this power. While speaking, he saw the wind and clouds changing above his head, and large swaths of dark clouds began to gather above the entire Luteng city. In the blink of an eye, the urban area of Luteng city changed from bright sunshine to dark clouds. Those who didn't know better thought it was dark. Sensing the changes in the world, countless citizens of Green Vine City walked out of their rooms or stuck their heads out of the window. When they saw the dark sky, they opened their mouths unconsciously. What's going on? Why did it get dark all of a sudden? Yeah, I was fine just now. Where is the sun? Where has it gone? Who turned off the lights in the city? I have never seen the sky get so dark. Isn't it going to rain? Impossible, how could it rain for no reason? And the weather forecast didn't say anything about rain. Yes, I just looked at the weather forecast. It won't rain for the next month. It's dark like this. It's going to rain a lot. That's right, even if there are errors in weather forecasts, they won't be that big of an error. What a hell. Before the citizens of Green Vine City could figure out what happened, suddenly a flash of lightning came from above their heads. In an instant, the originally dark city was instantly illuminated. Then there was a deafening thunder. Many people screamed in fright at the scene. Subconsciously, they looked up at the sky. At first glance, I realized that at some point, violent lightning began to appear in the dark clouds. Sometimes it's like a thunder snake dancing wildly, and sometimes it's like a thunder dragon roaring. It was clearly visible even through the thick clouds. In a short while, the entire sky was covered. Greenvine City was completely illuminated as a result. Everyone had never seen such a battle before, and everyone was trembling with fear. And this situation lasted for nearly 10 minutes. After 10 minutes everything calmed down. It was only then that everyone finally came to their senses and looked up to the sky with lingering fear. Oh my God, what happened just now? Could it be that someone was unable to survive the catastrophe? With the two male and female swords as the core, it gradually turned into a huge Tai Chi diagram. Almost immediately, the people in the north noticed this change. It's so scary. I've never seen such a large amount of lightning. The lightning just now, if converted into electricity, would probably be enough for the whole country to use for a year. It goes without saying that all the rain has gone to the north, and there will only be thunder and lightning in the south. The clouds of different colors from the two places finally merged and twisted in the middle of the Dragon Kingdom. The other hand shook the Sand King bell violently. Seeing that they were about to be blown away by the strong wind, Yang Lin fiercely threw the sword in his hand into the sky. At the same time, in the Lutang City Sports Center, the audience who were reciting scriptures seriously suddenly felt a chill coming from their heads. As soon as he raised his head, a drop of rain fell on his face. After all, it hasn't rained in the area around Greenvine City for a long time. Yang Lin, who was far away in the sports center, also let out a long sigh at this moment. The next second the sword split into two in the air, one facing north and the other facing south. A look of joy appeared on his face unconsciously. The heavy rain had been falling for nearly a day and a night. If it continued raining, something big would happen. Under such circumstances, the continuous heavy rain in the north began to slowly subside. What you said makes some sense. Although he had temporarily achieved the realm of true immortality just now, he had also suffered a catastrophe because of it. Suddenly, the entire sports center was filled with strong winds, making the flags and prayer flags nearby rustle. The Taoists sitting in the formation were almost unable to sit still. I saw him first raising the Sanwu evil destroying male and female sword in his hand high, and then reciting a spell loudly. In the blink of an eye, all their clothes were soaked. Above the nine skies invisible to everyone, the black cumulonimbus clouds that originally gathered in large areas in the north of Dragon Kingdom were actually rolling towards the south bit by bit. The white clouds in the south also began to flow towards the north. Subconsciously they thought it was an illusion. Now he finally has time to finish the unfinished business. How come there was thunder but no rain? I thought God would take this opportunity to rain some, but it turned out there was only thunder and lightning. Just when the citizens of Lutang City couldn't figure out what was going on. The raindrops are getting heavier and heavier, and the rain is getting more intense. However, it was at this time that the second, third, and fourth drops were dropped, from the size of a grain of rice to the size of a soybean, and then to the size of a broad bean. Without the source of rain, the continuously rising water levels in the north began to recede bit by bit. The initial heavy rain gradually turned into normal light rain. Under the control of Yang Lin, two fairy swords, one female and one male, quickly stirred up the world. Fortunately, his realm has reached the realm of true immortals, and with the addition of 3 immortal treasures, it only took some effort to dispel the heavenly calamity. Rain is yin and drought is yang, yin and yang alternate, and the two complement each other. But even so, the audience present remained motionless, just staring at the sky stupidly. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 338. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. In the huge sports center, The only sound at this moment was the sound of raindrops falling on the ground and seats. The more than 33,000 spectators seemed to not exist. Their eyes were staring straight at the sky, and their bodies were like sculptures. I don't know how long it took, but they finally came to their senses. In an instant, bursts of cheers erupted in the sports center. All the audience present, whether they knew him or not, immediately stood up from their seats and hugged the people next to them tightly. We made it. It's raining, it's finally raining. Is this really something we can do? I have made a difference, I really have made a difference. I never thought that one day I would be able to participate in such a big event. It feels like a dream. I've never loved the rain as much as I did today. Of course, we followed Yang Lin to pray to God for this rain today. That feeling just now was really wonderful. It turns out that praying for rain is not a legend, it actually exists. Yes, if I hadn't been able to feel the connection between myself and heaven and earth just now, I would have doubted whether this was true. Since I was a kid, I thought I couldn't do anything big. It wasn't until today that I realized that I could actually play such a big role. Stop talking, hurry up and take photos and videos. While the audience at the scene was excited, the entire Luteng city, together with several surrounding cities, was shrouded in a huge curtain of rain. The continuous rain never stops for a moment. Moisturizing this long dry land, it also nourishes the hearts of thousands of people. Outside the sports center, a group of leading officials from Luteng City wearing white shirts were as excited as children amid the rain. Even the top leader Gong Baichen is no exception. He immediately threw the umbrella handed to him on the ground and let the rain wet his hair and shirt. God knows how much pressure he has been under during this period of time. Every day when I open my eyes, there is all kinds of news about drought. Due to the drought, all walks of life in Luteng City have completely stopped production. Investors from all over the world will basically not consider green vines. If it continues to develop at this pace, Luteng City's economy may experience an unprecedented setback this year. Of course, this is just one of the pressures. The second reason comes from praying for rain this time. At first, he went against all opinions and invited Yang Lin to Luteng to pray for rain for Luteng City. This has never happened in the entire development history of Dragon Kingdom. In order to make this rain prayer ceremony go on normally, it was even packaged into a concert. If he fails to pray for rain and is exposed on the internet, his career will basically be over. This is nothing short of a huge gamble. But judging from the current situation, he obviously won the bet. His hard work of waiting here all morning was not in vain. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but laugh uproariously. It finally rained, the drought was finally relieved, and the green vines were saved. Taoist Master Yang is really a god. What is said on the internet is true. He really has the ability to move wind and rain. Hearing his words, other people present nodded their heads. If they hadn't been at the scene today, they wouldn't have believed that such an outrageous thing could happen in the world. One person can actually affect the weather of the entire city with his personal ability. This is simply unbelievable. Just as they were cheering, the mayor's secretary Zhao Dongsheng suddenly looked at his cell phone in shock. The heavy rain in the north has actually stopped. Oh my God, could it be that Master Yang really lent the heavy rain in the north to us? As soon as these words came out, everyone present immediately gathered around. When they saw the content on the mobile phone screen clearly, the expressions on their faces were exactly the same as Zhao Dongsheng's. Unconsciously, they remembered the plan Yang Lin had said when they met Yang Lin for the first time. At that time, Yang Lin said that he would divert the heavy rain from the north to the south to alleviate the drought in the south. They just thought Yang Lin was joking. Looking at it now, I realized that Yang Lin actually did it. Not only did he resolve the drought in Luteng City, but he also used the heavy rain that was supposed to fall in the north. This sounds even more outrageous. For a moment, they stood still on the spot. However, the most confused person at this moment is not them, but the Longwo Meteorological Administration. Because just a few minutes ago, their official account was almost destroyed by netizens. The comment areas below all major accounts are filled with abuse and doubts from netizens. What the hell are you doing with your weather forecast? Didn't you say that heavy rains here are going to rain for several days and nights? As a result, I carried several bags of rice and dozens of kilograms of meat home last night. As a result, the heavy rain stopped immediately. That is to say, our family lives on the first floor. After hearing your forecast, we were so scared that we moved overnight and moved all the furniture to the third floor. As a result, the rain has only reached the threshold. It's not that you are not allowed to make errors, but isn't your error a bit too big? I didn't sleep last night, thinking about how to prevent my car from getting soaked in water. I piled more than 10 layers of bricks under the car overnight. Tell me, how should I put the car down now? What do you mean? When we heard that we were going to have heavy rain for several days, my dad and I sent all the hundreds of pigs in the pig farm to the mountains last night. They were carried up one by one. The pigs are fine. We are almost exhausted. I will never look at the weather forecast again. If I look at the weather forecast inside, I might as well stick my head out the window and take a look. Quickly tell me, is your weather forecast this time the work of an intern, or is it because you read the weather cloud map wrong? We are here in Lilton. You have been saying that it won't rain, but it didn't rain today. It is, and it is very big. Just tell me if your face hurts. It is recommended to ban it, even the weather can't be predicted accurately. Faced with all the abuse from netizens, the staff responsible for operating the Meteorological Bureau account were also very confused and aggrieved. All data are obtained from the meteorological satellites of the General Meteorological Administration. Moreover, the meteorological satellites of the Longwo Meteorological Administration can be ranked among the best in the world. There have never been any major false positives in all these years. At most, there are only some small errors. It's not like this time, it was reported to rain continuously, but it only lasted less than a day. Let alone a drought warning, there is no reason to go wrong with this kind of thing. When you say where it won't rain, the probability of error will never exceed 1%. He couldn't figure out why it stopped raining in areas where it was supposed to rain heavily, while it suddenly started raining heavily in areas that were supposed to be dry. Not understanding the key, he immediately reported the situation. He can't afford such a big pot. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 339. In the office building of the General Meteorological Administration and the National Meteorological Center in the imperial capital of the Dragon Kingdom, the atmosphere inside the building was as gloomy as the weather outside at this moment. Especially when the staff inside the building looked at the rain that had gradually stopped outside. Apparently half an hour ago, the rain outside was as heavy as a hole in the sky. To this end, they also installed floodproof sandbags and floodproof boards outside the building. At the same time, some valuable electronic equipment was also moved to higher floors. After all, the imperial capital was also located in the north of the Dragon Kingdom, in the center of the heavy rain. But now not only has the rain stopped, but even the large swaths of dark clouds have begun to disperse. Among the clouds, you can even vaguely see wisps of sunlight. For the people in the northern part of the Dragon Kingdom, this is naturally a great thing. But this is not the case for them. This is no longer a simple broadcast error, but a serious dereliction of responsibility at work. Because of their weather broadcasts and disaster warnings, we don't know how much economic losses and human costs have been caused. In addition, there is a lot of criticism on the internet. If they are really held accountable, none of them can escape. Because of this, the office where hundreds of people gathered was silent at the moment, and everyone's faces looked unhappy. The faces of several big leaders were so dark that they could drip with water. I don't know how long it took, but a middle-aged man sitting at the top with his hair parted in the middle and wearing a white shirt finally couldn't help but said, "Everyone has seen the comments on the internet. I won't say how unpleasant the comments made by netizens are. My phone calls haven't stopped from now on. Do you know how much manpower and material resources have been spent in various places to deal with this heavy rain? It's good now. The rainstorm will disappear soon. Of course, I'm not saying that it's bad if the rainstorm disappears. The key issue is that our prediction this time has a big problem, an unprecedented big problem. Now I wish I could kill myself with a piece of tofu. I don't want to say anything else. I just want to know which part of the problem went wrong so that I can give an explanation to netizens." As soon as these words came out, the originally silent conference room suddenly became commotion. Everyone present looked at me, as if they wanted to find responsibility on each other's faces. After nearly a minute, a technician from the Meteorological Satellite Center finally stood up. "Director Liu, all data and information come from our Meteorological Satellite Center, and future weather predictions are also based on this information. The analysis of the data is completed by the Galaxy supercomputer. The Galaxy supercomputer is absolutely infallible, and we have also undergone manual analysis, and the conclusions drawn by the computer are almost the same. Theoretically, our predictions are impossible to make mistakes, and we have never made mistakes in disaster predictions." As if he was worried that everyone present would be suspicious, he quickly imported all the data he had prepared in advance into the computer nearby. "This is the weather cloud picture sent back by Fengyun 3 days ago. This one is calculated by the Galaxy supercomputer based on various data. This is the data sent back by Fengyun 2 days ago. They have been engaged in meteorological work for so many years, and they still have the basic ability to read pictures and analyze data." Until he clicked on the big picture, his pupils unknowingly dilated a bit, and an extremely surprised expression appeared on his face. Not only has the risk of flooding in the north been lifted, but the drought in the south has also been alleviated, as if it was intentional. Is this a north-south water diversion project? The amount of maintenance funds the country spends on these two heavy equipment every year has reached astronomical figures. If there is still a problem, then more or less of the people present will have to go in. It can even be said that the weather in these areas is like the opposite of the weather in northern cities. The drier the city, the heavier the rain. After hearing this sentence, everyone hurriedly checked the relevant reports. I didn't realize anything was wrong at first. They couldn't figure out why this was the case. Did we get the wrong data when we analyzed the data? As this technician from the Meteorological Satellite Center came up with data and corresponding charts, everyone in the conference room nodded again and again. There really are such strange things in the world. Don't tell me, this thing seems really weird. The heavy rain that was supposed to fall in the north suddenly came to the south. According to the weather bureaus of some cities in the south, heavy rain suddenly fell in several cities that were experiencing severe drought, including Luteng City. And this information is so obvious that even an intern can see that there is no possibility of a major error. However, his words reminded everyone present. After confirming that this was not a joke made by his colleagues, he immediately looked at everyone present with a stiff expression. The fact that there was such a big mistake in the weather forecast this time probably has little to do with us. While everyone was looking at the data in a daze, a researcher from the Institute of Meteorological Sciences also spoke. "And you haven't noticed one thing. The heavy rain this time seems to have fallen specifically on those drought-prone cities, and not a drop of rain has fallen on the nearby cities that are not experiencing drought. This rain is more precise than artificial rainfall. This phenomenon is also inconsistent with our previous analysis and predictions." Just when the conference room fell into silence again, the technician from the Meteorological Satellite Center suddenly received an email. When I opened the email, I saw that it contained a recent weather cloud map. As he spoke, he projected the weather cloud map he had just received onto the big screen. The time marked was exactly 10 or 20 minutes ago. As for problems with meteorological satellites and supercomputers, that is even less likely. After discovering this, everyone in the meeting looked at each other again. After hesitating again and again, he finally spoke tremblingly. After saying this, he smiled self-deprecatingly. Obviously this kind of thing was even more impossible. As mentioned just now, after the heavy rain shifted, it was like it had eyes, specifically catching the drought-stricken cities. I think I've figured out what the problem is. Judging from the information collected on the surface and the feedback data from meteorological satellites, heavy rains will indeed occur in some parts of the north in the coming period. In this way, although there were problems with our predictions, we did resolve the meteorological disasters in the two places, and the results are good. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 340. There are 3 weather cloud pictures uploaded to the projection screen. The first picture was taken half an hour ago, the second picture was 20 minutes ago, and the third picture was 10 minutes ago. In the first picture, everything is still in normal condition. Large clouds gather in the north, and many cumulonimbus clouds can be seen. The clouds are thin in the south and there is no sign of any rainfall. Just as they predicted earlier. But by the second picture, everything changed. The clouds on the north and south began to exchange with each other, with thick black clouds running to the south and thin white clouds running to the north. The two are entangled with each other. And you can see a point in the center of the two. It seems that it is these 2 points that stir up the clouds on both sides, allowing them to merge and alternate with each other. It is also because they caused all the heavy rains that should have happened in the north to fall to the south. And it becomes more obvious in the third picture. At this moment, everyone present was stunned. Although these 3 pictures answered their previous doubts, they also created a bigger doubt for them. That's why the good weather suddenly turned like this. It's so contrary to common sense. It cannot be explained at all from a scientific level, as if there is some invisible force driving all of this. Just when everyone was frowning, one of them suddenly pointed at the third photo and said loudly, "Do you think the weather cloud image in the third photo looks a bit like something?" As soon as these words came out, everyone quickly stared at the third picture again. As they looked at it, they felt more and more that the pattern on the picture looked so familiar. Here I go, isn't this a Tai Chi? It's half black, half white, and has 2 small dots. Don't tell me, it's really similar. This is more than just a resemblance, this is what it is. This is too incredible. Who can tell me what is going on? Is it possible that someone is really interfering with the weather behind the scenes? Who has such great ability, Lord Dragon? Let's not worry about it for now. Let's resolve this public opinion crisis first. We need to tell the public that this time it is not that there is a problem with our forecast, but that the weather itself has changed. Yes, if this is really the case, this matter has nothing to do with us at all. I suggest that all the information and weather cloud images we just reviewed should be made public online. Only in this way can we prove our innocence. As for the specific reasons for all this, let netizens guess for themselves. Agree. Agree. I agree. As everyone at the scene reached a consensus, the official portal website of the Meteorological Bureau and accounts on major social platforms soon released various data and weather cloud images related to the disaster. Due to the fermentation of public opinion, the Meteorological Bureau has already been criticized by netizens and has become a hot search topic. And their official account is at the forefront, so all the information they publish is immediately discovered by a large number of netizens. Netizens subconsciously thought that the Meteorological Bureau was blaming the blame, but after they looked at all the data and weather cloud maps inside and out, both the expression and the direction of public opinion immediately changed 180 degrees. What is going on? Why did the Meteorological Bureau disclose all its internal information? I guess I can't bear the pressure. Wait a minute, what are these 3 weather cloud pictures? Were they really completed within half an hour? So there is no problem with the Meteorological Bureau's forecast, but there is a temporary change in the weather. If what they released is not false information, it can basically be understood that way. The weather is changing faster than my girlfriend's face. It's so weird. Isn't the weirdest thing about the 3rd picture? Why does such a big Tai Chi pop out on it? Holy crap, it's really a Tai Chi diagram. This is too fantasy. Who borrowed the heavy rain from the north? It's very obvious that there is a mysterious force that reverses the weather in the north and south. Good guy, I've heard of people borrowing money to borrow things, but this is the first time I've heard of people borrowing money from heavy rain. It's wonderful. In this way, the rain in the north and south will be balanced all of a sudden. Even the parents of the twins are not so fair. It can't really be a powerful person who takes action. When it comes to greatness, I really think of one person. Don't you find that the scene is a bit familiar? Last time, someone sent a typhoon to Zaire. Let me go, why did I forget Yang Lin? If I remember correctly, he should be holding a concert in Luteng right now. The center point of this rainfall happens to be in Luteng City, and the time coincides with the time of his concert. I understand, everything is understood. At this moment, netizens were like Sherlock Holmes, piecing together the originally scattered clues and information one by one. Heavy rains in the north, drought in Luteng City and other southern cities, rain at concerts, Luteng City. All clues eventually point to Yang Lin. Coupled with the video and photos of Yang Lin checking into the hotel with a group of Taoist priests the night before, netizens are basically 90% sure that this incident is related to Yang Lin. What happened next further verified their guesses. Photos and videos from Yang Lin's concert were posted online one after another by the audience. Among these photos and videos are photos of the stage taken by people before the concert started. During the concert, Yang Lin took photos of Taoist priests doing this. There are also photos of the support items distributed during the concert. And photos of the rain pouring after the concert. Although these photos and videos do not involve the complete process of doing it, they are enough to make netizens suddenly realize it after watching it. Look at what I'm saying. I'm just saying that this matter has nothing to do with Yang Lin. What a coincidence. He was holding a concert in front of him, and it started raining in the back. Although he is a star, no one has heard him sing. Why did he hold a concert? It is obvious that this concert is just a cover. Which idol gave out peachwood swords and scriptures as support items during a concert? That is to say, other stars bring a band to their concerts, but he brings a group of Taoist priests. Don't tell me that he needs this group of Taoist priests to accompany him. There is only one truth. This time, it was Yang Lin's on-site practice that caused the heavy rain that should have fallen in the north to the dry south. He also made that big Tai Chi diagram. Doesn't that mean that everyone who went to the concert this time saw him doing this to pray for rain? It's a loss, it's a loss. I had already won the lottery, but then I gave up after thinking about it. The loss is huge. I can go to the concert anytime. It is probably the only time in my life that I will witness the practice of praying for rain. From now on, should I believe science, or should I not? At this point, the truth is completely revealed, and Luteng city officials no longer pretend at this time.